Dear Lord, won't you?
Okay, so here's the thing when it comes to their after COVID-19, post-COVID-19, proceedings are returned, workers return, plays return, schools return, all that other shit, or whatever shit. The biggest issue is going to be education, because if it's another outbreak or something else in the near future, the internet of most rural people should be in order first. It should hit it that way, and it needs to be that way, because there's the people who couldn't go to school couldn't go to doing tele school is rural people. It is hard to do so. You cannot do a Zoom class, even if it's not your private. You couldn't do a Zoom class unless your internet services are absolutely good, and it does not work right now. It is not simply working right now. That's why SpaceX Starlink is very much now of the adequate importance, especially in Louisiana, because most areas are very much rural. The population of Natchitoches itself is higher than the folks in the city, and that's Natchitoches Parish. Natchitoches Parish has a bigger population than the entire city base itself, and the biggest issue is simply you have no internet service that is up to par, that is good enough for Zoom, and not good enough for Zoom, but not good enough for parents and kids to finish their classes and do the job that is done. And I believe that's a major issue. And it's the same way with people saying, oh, we got fiber to the home. It's not going to happen. And here's what's happening. They're going to get disrupted. So what is the point of setting up fiber when you're going to get disrupted by folks like Starlink and SpaceX? Even if it's going to rural people and people who don't have internet first, and people who never had internet in their life, in places like Africa or rural parts of Europe or very much rural America and stuff. That's what's going to happen. There's stuff that needs to be done to fix that there. You also have, and it's the same way I said about cord cutting. Cord cutting television is going to be very much important, because the problem matter is, what is the point of paying $100 for your cable or satellite television bill when there's some stuff you watch and most you don't? I watch Oxygen for Snap. I watch Investigation Discovery for all the criminal stuff. I watch ESPN for live sports. The live sports portion is gone, so what's the point? Or I can add, there's a lot of stuff that's like, what's the point? I'm not buying. It's bullshit. So there's another issue there, and there's a bigger issue there. It's also food. The food we eat is going to have to be localized. It's not going to be what it used to be. You have to have folks like Dietrich and folks that are in Provençal selling deer meat and all that stuff to make it localized, be fully localized. Because at the end, what is the point? What is the point of waiting for beef to come back, or waiting for pork to come back to the shelves? It's gonna be a while. And even if it is already open, and I'm gonna say this again, even if it's already open and the president sets it up, there's a lot of people that are going to get sick from that, and it's very, very dangerous. The biggest hope going forward is also movie industry, especially in Natchitoches Parish. It is not going to work this time. You're not going to do it and get away with it anymore. You can't. It's that simple. You have a lot of people, and thanks to I'm not going to say, you have a lot of people that are going to listen, or going to watch movies, videos on demand. You're going to watch a regular movie video on demand. Look at Trolls World Tour. It has done so much more. And guess what happened to AMC and others? They are mad at Universal and crapping on that money. And guess what? Guess what? You're gonna say, I'm not gonna give you Fast and the Furious, the final Fast and Furious movie. Guess what I can tell you? Too bad, too sad. Go watch it on Google Play. And guess what? Less money for you, because you'll be out of business. It's that simple. You'll be out of business. That's a promise. GameStop's the same way. Look at what's happening with GameStop. GameStop is in deep shit as of right now. Even with the pandemic right now. Even with the pandemic right now, it is in deep shit regardless. People need there's a lot of people that need the physical stuff, but they're looking at GameStop and say, we ain't doing it. This is not done. We're not doing it. People are going to places like the PlayStation Network and also Xbox Live Store, or even the eShop for Nintendo for digital. And there is a major consequence there as well. The biggest consequence for digital goods is, guess what's going to happen? And that's the biggest problem. Your digital products aren't yours. They are Sony's. They are Microsoft's. They are Nintendo. Once they strip it out of that server, you do not have it. It's over. It's done. That's why people are pissed about a lot. That's why I believe also there's going to be emulation in play. People who are emulating their games now are going to be realizing, hey, we got to do something. This is not going to... Back in... You think I'm going to buy a digital product? No. There's going to be a lot of people that are waiting for something like this. I don't know if I have it. That's the thing. I can't do it. But I can't flip it. But you're going to have something like this. PlayStation 4 is going to be emulated. Once it's a legacy product for Sony, I guarantee you somebody's going to set this something up for emulation. And I mean all of it. All of emulation. But if what Sony said is true, I'm not a Sony person, I'm not a Nintendo person, I don't care. As long as I get the games, as long as I play the games that I want, I don't care. Even if it is censorship. Guess what? If it is censorship, you have a choice. Buy it used. Buy it used so the money's not going to the gaming industry, going to that gaming person. Like, especially when it comes to Persona 5 Royal. If people are mad about it, get it used. Even though I'll have a dog in the fight sometimes. Because I bought Persona 5 Royal. I got no shame in there. I may not buy a PlayStation 5 or I may not buy Xbox One. But if I buy a Nintendo Switch, guess what? As long as the game is there, I don't care. But there's going to be a time where there's going to be a lot of games that's going to be needing to emulate, such as, especially, hold on, I'll show you this. Especially something like this, Need for Speed Carbon. Especially something like this, Pokemon Snap, needs to be emulated. There's a lot of need for emulation. Persona 5 for the PlayStation 3 needs to be emulated, or there's going to be a full emulation, full emulation that will work on anything, including PlayStation 3 or PlayStation 4 or whatever. I mean, the best thing that it started was the PSP. Because to me, I can literally watch a movie. I can literally watch an entire movie on a PSP. It's not just. It doesn't matter. And all you got to do is just literally download it from an APK or an APK movie or live television site, or the APK movie. Have it downloaded for free. Send it to you on your phone's hard drive. Move it to your computer. Literally convert this shit into MPEG 4, and once that's done, it can be literally watched and you can have it forever. And it's the same way with emulation. You could literally emulate your games and you could have it forever. You could have it forever, as long as there is no copyright issue there. That is the thing. You can literally have it forever if you want to, and that's the thing. You would have it forever. And that's just the gaming industry altogether. There's pitfalls to have more people buy digital product, but there's a lot of pitfalls when it comes to physical product. And guess what? You think a physical product could stay at this center forever? No, because guess what? It's mostly also all server based. So you can stick up a disc in there and hope you can be played, but guess what? All that multiplayer gaming that you play, it is out. It is not enough. Boom, 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 boom. At the end, once most of the servers are gone for most of these physical games from PlayStation 3 or whatever, what else do you got to do? The best way is emulation. You have to emulate the product. And that's the thing. You have to emulate the product. So that's what you're going to see. But schooling is, and that's what I said about schooling when it comes to teleschooling. There's the internet services that are in Natchitoches Parish, in all parts of Louisiana, and not just Natchitoches Parish, but all parts of Louisiana that are mostly rural, need to have their internet structure in order, because it does not work right now. It does not work, and it may never work. I have a 4G LTE SIM from Verizon that I paid for this due for $80 a month. All I'm waiting for is the call for Elon Musk to send the entire beta and says, I want to be on this beta. I want to be on this public beta. Put me in, coach. Because if that works, if it works out, I'm gonna tell you this straight up. That is gonna go. I'm gonna try this again if you didn't see it. This is gonna go. It really is gonna go. I got one more thing. I have a dish box. I have that dish box right there. That is gonna go. So is the other one. Because I'm most likely gonna, if I were to stay here a little longer, if I were to stay in the house a little longer, that dish, those two boxes, gone. I'm doing everything possible to set it up for streaming television future, and also an antenna future. Because now, look at ASTC 3.0, for example. It is easier nowadays to literally set up an antenna. You're literally having more channels than you have more channels than the Winged Dragon of Ra at this point. And that's the thing. And that is the thing. You have Stadium, for example. Stadium is likely, to me, the next ESPN. The next ESPN. Not ESPN in '85 was literally motorsport centric. It's what brought NASCAR to this point anyway. ESPN is to Fox Sports, and ESPN is Fox Sports and also ABC and other sports complexes back at those times. Because the Winston Cup back then, it wasn't, some of it was paid TV. You have the Daytona 500 in the CBS, which is mostly CBS, and a Michigan 500, which is CBS. You have the Pepsi 400, for most of it, is on ESPN. And then you have different channels that set up the Winston Cup that have motorsports events, such as let's say like the Bristol race, or the Bristol night race, or the Bristol race, or the Bristol's Day race, for that example. Darlington on both times. I can add a few more. Rockingham, that is on ESPN back in the day. You have let's see what else. You have most of the rest of the season, as of this point, is mostly ESPN, TNN, and others. Even the Michigan 500, even as any race that is Charlotte or Michigan, or not Michigan, but the not Coke 600, but the World 600 back then, or the Coke 600 now, is mostly TBS, and that's what made them money out all these years. And that's the biggest thing. A lot of things have changed because now it's Fox and NBC centric when it comes to NASCAR. But back in those times, which is the Winston Cup, and then from like the 70s all the way to like 2001, 2002, stuff changed. It changed a lot when it came to NASCAR. You don't have the cigarette ads anymore. But back in the day, there is god-awful millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars on that sport when it came to cigarettes in motorsport. There is going to be, and it's going to be a lot of changes with the sport, because it's going to be harder to get more people, get a sponsor to set up, unless you say, oh, do we have anything to be safe so we wouldn't cause problems? And that's cool. And everybody's gonna say, oh, it's a sports rights crash. It's all the television advertising stuff, all the money coming in is gonna go belly up. And to me, it's not right now, until they have to get their stuff in order from COVID-19. The biggest problem still is going to be people who are cutting the cord and saying, I'm going to live sports. But the problem is the competition, and right now the competition is so much. Guess what? You're better off getting an APK. You get better off getting something like this. I'll show you. You're better off getting this. Yeah, that's my Android TV. You're better off getting that, and then setting up an APK and get every single one of your TV shows, your movies, or watching your live sports free or a nominal price. Because but the problem matter is, I'm not saying about piracy, but piracy is going up, and and because of this cutthroat nature of streaming television nature, and you have Dish Network and DirecTV and others fighting piracy because they're doing everything possible to stop it. Because if it stopped, then they could come and buy our stuff. No. There is a view that says there's a need for piracy, because now they can see which movies they like, and if they like them, they can buy them. And at the end, the money is going to go straight to them anyway. And that's the biggest problem. The biggest problem with Hollywood is they think we are entitled to your money. You're not going to have piracy, and if you do, we will take your money, whether you buy our product or whether we sue you for it. And that does not work anymore. I want you to go to Raging Golden Eagle's YouTube page. I'm telling you right now, he has some insights you won't believe. And in other stuff like Clownfish TV, shout out to them. 100,000 subs and counting. The husband and wife family are awesome. Awesome. Bravo to them. Because that's what they realize. Things have to change in Hollywood. And people are looking at folks like Ellen DeGeneres, Brad Pitt, and others during this quarantine, and everybody else as ain't shit motherfuckers. And I apologize for cursing, but I'm gonna keep it real with you. They ain't shit. They ain't shit and will never be shit. And they're gonna treat you thinking you're gonna treat our common person, and you're basically begging for our money. And it says you are hereby say, give me your money. Here's your money. That's not gonna work anymore. It's either you get it done and entertain, or get out the door and be broke. There's a reason for get woke, go broke, because at the end, if you don't give the product that people want, guess what's happening? You're gonna be gone. It's that simple. I think Sony may be next. I think Microsoft may be next at some point. Or I think most of the console generations are gonna deal with this in their time. And the biggest test is who's gonna be there? Who's gonna be with you? Who's gonna be with you whenever you're there or not? And that's the question. So part 2 is simply Part two, I could add even more. I add like 2 more. I already had with food. I already had with entertainment. I already had most of the stuff. Medical is going to be a bigger issue because it's going to be even harder to get an appointment unless you get in time. Unless it's going to be a lot of stuff. There's going to be a lot of stuff that's going to change that way. Innovation in health is going to be even of bigger importance. I think the war on drugs on marijuana need to be no, just stop it. Stop it. War on drugs in general need to be just stop it. Stop it. The drug war is not working at all because you're arresting the small and medium-sized dealers and you're not catching the big meech Larry Hoover getting work. That is literally, I'm using Rick Ross's line of there's big meeches out there that are still running the drug trade and are making millions of dollars. I don't care if it's Pablo Escobar. I don't care if it's the big time drug dealer from Mexico. Guess what? One day there will be a time that fight is going to be over, and the cartels are going to realize we cannot do this shit anymore. And that's the thing. If you're a libertarian, you're going to have to start at home. Start having, if any person believes in libertarianism, start your politics where you are. Start it in places like Natchitoches, the city of Natchitoches, because there's a guy that is there that is going to be in the mayor's race. Start watching him. Yes, he's a libertarian, but guess what? We don't need both parties at this point because at the end it does not work. You're gonna have the war on drugs. So once that's done, then you get to city council. Once that's done, you go for governorship. That's the main. And once it hits states, then go straight to the White House. Go straight to the White House, or make it to Senate, U.S. Senate, House, U.S. House of Representatives, and go straight for the White House. That's the thing. I believe one day that libertarian movement is going to change things. It's going to change for better because guess what? You have parents that are saying, go vote for the Republican or Democrat. That's not going to work anymore. Because at the end, one day, that'll be vanished in a blink of an eye. Because at the end, the people that vote D or R or red or blue does not matter. It's who's going to represent you. Who's going to represent me. And that's the biggest issue. That's the biggest thing I think a lot of people need to realize is people are tired of this party shit. And I believe Ms. Thompson, shout out to her, is correct. Lisa Thompson is correct. People are tired of this shit. On either side. We need fresh ideas. We need fresh faces. And I hope it happens in Natchitoches, in the city of Natchitoches, because we need fresh faces around here. So, I'm done. Gone. See ya.